Hi, it's Talsvids. This is my review on the Apple Magic Trackpad 2, which has just been released recently by Apple. Now, I'm going to focus more on actually showing the Magic Trackpad 2 in use and what you can do with it, and demonstrating the force touch or force click, whatever you want to call it, feature that the Magic Trackpad 2 has now got on it. But I will show some pictures that show the Magic Trackpad, what it looks like, etc. in the later parts of this review. So when you first get the Magic Trackpad, you simply connect it to a USB port with the supplied lightning cable and use it wirelessly from then on. What I would suggest you do as well when you first get the trackpad is go into System Preferences and perhaps just have a look at the point and click, scroll and zoom and more gestures, just to have a look and set it up to your preference. If we look at the point and click section here, there's lookup and data detectors, and this means that you can force click with one finger. Well, you might perhaps want to change that to tap with 3 fingers, or you might just like to leave it on default, but that's the kind of thing that you can do once you go into System Preferences. So you've got the option there to alter the secondary click, so you can alter it from its default setting to the other 2 settings there. Same with that. In this little section here we've got click, and that basically means that you can have either light, medium or firm pressure to activate the force click feature. I prefer to put a little bit more pressure on so I can differentiate from a normal click to a force click, but you might perhaps like yours on medium or light. Well, in this section here you can alter that to choose your amount of pressure. Now the track and speed one here, this basically governs how fast or how much you've got to move your finger over the trackpad to move the arrow from one side of the screen to the other. So what I'll do, I've got that set like that now, and I've roughly got to move my fingers maybe about 3 or 4 inches across the trackpad to cover the left and right side of my screen. So if I alter that, say, to a halfway setting, and I do the same, you can see the arrow's moving much slower because I've got to lift my finger off the trackpad because I come to the edge of it. So you can see there, you're obviously, the further down towards slow that you've got the track and speed, the more you're going to have to move your finger across the trackpad to move the arrow left and right or up and down. So you can alter that. Like I say, when you first set the Magic Trackpad 2 up, it's always best going into the System Preferences, because you might find that there's something that you don't like, and you would be able to change that if you go into these System Preferences rather than getting off on a bad foot with the trackpad. Silent clicking. Now, some people prefer to hear a click from the trackpad when they're pressing it or when they're force clicking it. Some people might not. Well, if you enable silent clicking, you'll get no click. Also, this bottom option, force click and haptic feedback. Basically, when you press firmly and to look up a word or whatever, anything else, you'll get a little click tell you that you've enabled that feature. So if you were perhaps looking a word up, and which I'll go on in later on in the review and show you how to do this, you'll get a little click, like a little tap back on your finger to tell you that you've enabled force click. So if we're going to scroll and zoom, now zoom in and out with 2 fingers, that basically, so you say you're in a photo and you want to zoom in a little bit more detail, or whatever, you zoom in, you pinch with 2 fingers and you'll do that. Smart zoom, you can double tap with 2 fingers, so you might prefer that option to the zoom in and out by pinching with 2 fingers. But again, you've got various options in here and you can set it up to your liking. So you're always best going in here and setting it up, because you might like something better than its default setting. Now rotate, basically, as you can see on the little side screen there, You can see that you can rotate a picture by rotating your fingers. Now if we go into more gestures, this is where you'll find the majority of your preferences that you'll use in day-to-day apps. So this top option, swipe between pages, I prefer to have this set up with 2 or 3 fingers. So if I'm on Safari or some other internet browser, I can basically swipe with either 2 or 3 fingers, and I'll either be able to go back a web page or forward a web page. So as you can see there, if you move them to the right, that will get you forward in a web page, and swiping it left, you'll go back to your previous web page. So that's quite useful, and I do use that quite a lot. Swipe between full screen apps. So say you've got some apps and you've got them on full screen view, you can swipe left to right with 4 fingers and it'll swipe through all of them opened full screen apps. Notification center, now I've got mine set up so if I swipe left from the very right edge of the trackpad with 2 fingers, that will reveal the notification center. So I'll just show you that. And you can just swipe right to dismiss it. So that's 2 fingers on the right edge of the trackpad and swipe to the left, and that will show the notification center, and a swipe to the right will dismiss it. Mission control. Now again, this is something I use quite often because I do have a couple of desktops open on my iMac and I've got various apps open. So basically if I swipe up with 4 fingers, that will show my desktops. I've got desktop 1 and desktop 2, and you would also get up on this bar at the top if you're running El Capitan any other apps that you've got open full screen. Launchpad, if you pinch with your thumb and 3 fingers, that will open up the launchpad. So there, you can see that there like that. And if I swipe the other way, that will dismiss them. So you can get an idea of what you need to do on the little video that's on the system preferences there, you can see. I think that covers everything for the system preferences, and I wanted to show that first because sometimes when you first set the trackpad up, there's something that you don't like. You'll maybe find it scrolling either too fast or too slow to your liking, and rather than, you know, getting a little bit annoyed, it's always best, I find, to go into the system preferences first off and alter things to your own liking. So that's the system preferences part out of the way. Now what I'll show first, if we're going to Safari, now we're on this web page here. Now if I go to another web page, so if we go into accessories now, you can see now that obviously we're on a different web page to what we were. So if I swipe back with 3 fingers to the left, which I described how I'd set this up in system preferences earlier on, you can see there it'll go back to that previous page, and also a 3-finger swipe to the right, that'll get us back onto the accessories page. So you can see that you're able to quickly go back and forward in a web page. Now if I just go into this part here where we've got some words on the screen, if you're on a website and there's a word and you think, what does that word mean? You want to get a definition of it, or a thesaurus, you can basically force click or force touch on a word. And what I mean by force touch or force click, I mean the same thing. But basically, if what you do is you move your arrow over a word, so in this example I'll put my arrow over enclosure, and if you press down on the trackpad you'll feel 1 click, which is your usual click, and if you press a little bit harder you'll feel another click, and that's force touch. So if I force touch on that enclosure word now, that'll bring up a dictionary definition which tells me what it means. and also I get thesaurus as well. And what you can also do as well, if we look at the bottom of this little dialog window, there's Wikipedia. And if we click on Wikipedia, that will bring up a Wikipedia definition of it also. And also if it's got a musical theme as well, it'll show that particular music up in iTunes. It'll give you an iTunes recommendation. So say for example we're on some website and it was mentioning a recording artist and we've done the same on there, we'll get an iTunes mention as well. So that's getting a dictionary or thesaurus definition. So again, it's just pressing down and keep pressing and you'll activate force click. It's easier to do than it is to explain. So you can do that on any word that you see. Now, if we just go back a web page. Now, you might be on some website and you might see a link in that website that's going to redirect you to either another part of that website or onto another site altogether. Well, usually to see what site you're going to be put on or to see what that web page is going to look like, you've got to basically click on the link and it'll put you onto that website. Well, if we go into these parts here, now we've got learn more. Now obviously that's going to put us onto a different part of the website, so I'll just click that to show what I mean. So as you can see, when I've clicked on learn more, it's put us onto a different web page. Now if we do the same force click on there or on any web link that you would see on a web page, you can see that it brings up a preview window of what that web page will look like if we go to visit it. And again, it's something I do find quite useful because sometimes, especially if it's a news link or a news item, I'm not always that interested in it when I do click through onto it. So if I do this, I can get a quick glimpse of what it'll be about, and I can either decide to then click on it and go through to that. So that's force click on a web link. Now I'll just minimize Safari. We'll go into Finder now. Now this can be any file. That in this example I'm just showing on a photo. So usually to see what this photo is going to look like, I've got to double tap on it. It'll then load up in the program that photo is associated with, and you can see it on there. And these are some of the Magic Trackpad 2 pictures that I'm going to add into the review, but I'm using these for demonstration purposes at this point. So you might have a folder that's got quite a lot of pictures in and you want to get a preview of what they're like. Well, again, we do the same force click that we've done on all the other parts of this video guide. What we can see now, that'll load up, and another force click on that picture will dismiss it. So it's one force click to show the picture and another force click to get rid of it. So as you can see, I can quickly zip through them photos and see exactly what they look like. So that's force click on a photo, but you can also do it on other documents as well. So you might have a Word document or basically any document that you come across on your computer. Now another thing as well that you can do with force click, so say we've got this folder here, this folder that I've named test folder, and you want to rename it, or again this can be any file that you'll come across on your computer that's got a name. You can use this same procedure. If you move your mouse arrow over to the word, to the title of that file or folder, and you do a force click, you can see there that it highlights it in blue, and you can then rename it. So again, you just move your mouse arrow over onto the writing, onto its name, and you'll highlight it, and then you can just alter it. So I'll just show that again for the last time. So it's a force click, and that'll select the writing. So that's quickly renaming a file or folder. You can use it on both. Right, so the next thing, if I go back into Safari, now you might be on some website and there's a date that you're wanting to add to your calendar for an event, something like that. It might be a meeting or whatever. If you see a date in a document or on a website and you force click on the date, you'll get the little dialog window appearing that will allow you to quickly add that date and event onto your calendar. So I'll just show that again. You just move your mouse arrow over onto a date, force click on it, and that will give you a preview of your calendar application, and then you can in this new event part add whatever you wanted to call that event or meeting or whatever. So that's showing you how you can force click on a date and add it to calendar. Lastly, if we go into the Maps application and we're wanting to drop a pin onto one part of this map, so if I just zoom in a little bit more so that we can get a little bit more detail. So say I'm wanting to drop a pin onto this place name here called Bankhead. I can just move my mouse arrow over onto Bankhead, do a force click, and it'll drop that pin into that particular part, and then from there I can get information, also directions as well to that particular town or city, wherever. So again, if we go this time into Corin's Day and I drop the pin, you can see there, just drops that pin right onto it. So you move your mouse arrow over, I'll move it this time onto Old Kinnery, which is here. So you just put your mouse arrow over onto the town or city, do a force click, and the pin will be dropped right onto that town or city. Well, I think that covers about everything I can think of with the Magic Trackpad 2, and what I'll do now, I'll add some photographs of the Magic Trackpad that I've took, and I'll add them to the end of the review. So all in all, I really do like the Magic Trackpad 2. I did used to have the previous generation of this trackpad, and I really liked it. I liked it because of all the multi-touch gestures that you can use, and I found it was a much faster and easier way to navigate around the operating system and various apps, etc. So when I seen it had been released and I'd seen some of the features online, seeing the force click, force touch, whatever you want to call it, demonstrated, I thought that would be really useful, and I also thought in time as well as other app developers upgrade and update their apps, it's going to become even more useful. I also like the much larger size as well of the Magic Trackpad 2, which is roughly 30% larger touch surface than the previous generation. I did used to sometimes find that with the previous trackpad, I would often come to the edge when I was perhaps dragging and dropping a file or a folder, and this isn't something that I get with the Magic Trackpad 2, so the extra touch surface size is very welcome. So yeah, all in all, I really do like the Magic Trackpad 2. It's a definite upgrade over the other one as well. You might find that some complaints you would get about the old trackpad as well was you had to make sure you had some AA batteries lying around so that you could power it, because the older trackpad used to take AA batteries. Well, with the Magic Trackpad 2, it's got a built-in rechargeable battery, so you simply connect a lightning cable to a USB port, and you can charge the Magic Trackpad 2 up that way, and it charges up in around 2 hours, I think it is, 2.5 hours. So it takes no time at all to charge up, and you can also use the trackpad as it's charging up, so if you did inadvertently let it run right down, it went flat, you can power and charge the trackpad as well. Obviously it would take longer to charge, but the main thing is that you can still use the trackpad if it goes totally flat. So yeah, all in all, it's a worthy upgrade and I do like it, and I can highly recommend it if you're looking for a trackpad for your Mac. So I hope you found this review video guide helpful. If you have, please give it a thumbs up, and also if you subscribe to my YouTube channel, you'll receive an email when I upload any new videos. Well, thanks for watching. Goodbye.